Almost everything that could go wrong for Arkansas farmers did go wrong this year. And it's so bad that many are facing bankruptcy or even the closure of farms that have been passed down for generations.
Farmers in crisis align way out the door of the Woods Chapel Baptist Church in Brooklyn as hundreds of farmers from not only northeast Arkansas, but from across the state came to voice their concerns about the current state of farming.
And I've never been as worried as I am now about whether or not my kids and grandkids will be able to carry on.
For King, the main problem starts with the fact that they can't sell for profit.
I just would like to see somebody help us get our markets back. We need our exports, and we just need to be paid for what we do. And that's not happening. And we're in real trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arkansas, much like every other state, is on the verge of agricultural disaster. We need to come together and send aid to Arkansas before they collapse. But before we do, I want to know how they voted. Interessante. Well, folks, nothing to see here. This place got 100% what it voted for. And that's it.
I see that hundreds of Arkansas farmers are asking for a government bailout. I've heard about the soybean farmers as well, based off of the tariffs. I've seen the farmers in other red-led states suffering the consequences of these tariffs. And to them, I say they have to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. We don't support socialism. This is a free market economy. They're over here looking for bailouts at the expense of American taxpayers. No one in this country is going to get a free pass. They should just work harder. And they should maybe cut back on expenses then. Maybe they should budget. Maybe they should stop eating out and having all this damn avocado toast.
Hey there, y'all. First Nebraska, now cue up Arkansas. Arkansas farmers are bigly up in their fields right now. They're gonna lose their farms. Oh, golly. I would have some empathy, but, you know, after being told for so many years that not to have empathy, I don't have empathy. If only there's something they could have done, you know, back in November 2024, so they wouldn't be losing their farms in 2025. Oh, yeah. Oh, and John Deere, did y'all hear about John Deere? They are, like, getting rid of a lot of their employees, like tons of employees, because no one's buying their products anymore, plus tariffs.
So the people who say no handouts just lined up for a handout. Now tell me why farmers in Arkansas are standing outside with their hands out again, begging Uncle Sam for money. See, when it's regular people struggling, rent too high, groceries too ridiculous, can't afford health care, the answer is always from these people: stop complaining, stop asking for handouts, and pull yourself up by your bootstrap. Farmers in Arkansas are crying out to the feds for stimulus money like it's open mic night. And look, I get it, because times are hard everywhere. When you plant your crops, raise your cattle, take on the risks of farming, I mean, wasn't that a personal business decision? So why is it on me and you to make sure that that decision keeps paying out? Because see, when you and I make bad decisions, government doesn't cut us a check to make it right for us. Now, let's connect the dots here a little bit. These are the same people voting for the same politicians who say government is the problem. Yet as soon as the tractors stop running and their profits dry up, government magically turns into a solution for them. Ain't that funny and ironic? The question is, do we owe farmers any help? Or do they need to practice what they preach? Figure it out. Tighten that belt. Leave taxpayers out of it. Because last I checked, it's really not our problem to fix somebody else's gamble.
Arkansas farmers are the latest to F around and find out. Yeah, after Nebraska farmers, Texas farmers, it's now time for, the Arkansas state. Now, when you picture someone or a farmer in Arkansas, you probably imagine someone tough, proud, self-reliant, the backbone of small-town rural America. But what happens when that backbone starts to crack? Yeah, that's exactly what's happening across rural Arkansas, where a majority of its voters actually voted for the orange man, including its farmers, the very same people who actually cheered and wore, red MAGA hats and sang the MAGA songs, cheered for the promises of prosperity, are now facing the unthinkable because fields are going dry, bills are piling up, and tens of thousands of dollars are vanishing overnight, putting them in a crisis and risk of bankruptcy, just like the rest of the MAGA farmers, in other states that we have actually seen on this channel. Now, many are working in town halls, not actually to, celebrate success, but to beg for handouts. Yeah, they're actually begging for bailout, desperate to save what's left of their land, their home, and their dignity. So I want us to examine these videos that I've compiled for you guys, and I'll be back with more commentary. I want us to, get into the reality of the painful story of MAGA farmers in crisis, how they got there, what went wrong, and why so many are starting to regret their votes after, thinking that the very same vote would actually make America great again. I'm your presenter, Joel Mogisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing, hit that like button. Let's take a look. I'll be back with more commentary after this.
So it looks like Arkansas farmers are in the find out phase of the fuck around and find out part.
We're going to lose 25 or 30% of the farmers in this country if they don't do something. It has to be done, and it's not just here. It's everywhere.
Because farmers from all over the state of Arkansas came together to have a town hall meeting with some representatives from the government, explaining their struggles and what they might need to help them. And just as a friendly reminder, during the 2024 election, the state of Arkansas went 64.2% towards President Orange Man. But let's continue with the rest of this clip because it seems like one farmer might be having a realization as to what may be causing all of these issues.
For Brown, there is something that rounds out all the issues that they are facing: the tariffs.
I think the tariffs are the ice cream on the cake of a perfect storm. When you try to sell a product, okay, U.S. soybeans leaving New Orleans without the tariff to China are cheaper than Brazilian soybeans at the current market. But when you put the tariff on top of them, Brazilian beans are cheaper.
Now, I'm actually glad he's making the correlation that it has something to do with the tariffs. But I've noticed a pattern when it comes to some of these people, when it comes to the tariffs, that they never make the connection or blame towards the person that actually caused these tariffs. And I'm going to give him a major hint that it has to do with the person that won 64.2% of the vote in that state during the 2024 election. And this Arkansas farmer seems like he has a solution for this problem.
So, how can this be fixed?
In the short term, they have no choice but to mail us a check. I don't know a farmer that likes the check program. Nobody wants to take taxpayer dollars, but nobody wants to go broke.
Yep, you heard that right. He's asking for a government handout, which is socialism, which he says he doesn't like them, but during these past years, there have been lots of subsidies and checks going out for farmers, including bailouts that happened during President Orange Man's first term. Because during his first term, financial aid to farmers was about $28 billion, costing more than Navy shipbuilding, the nuclear forces, NASA, and even children's health insurance. So yeah, you guys do love to receive bailouts and handouts. All the while, you guys tell other people who need financial aid, such as single mothers with kids who need food stamps, that they should pull themselves up by the bootstraps, but for some reason you guys don't like doing it yourselves. And this is just another episode in the saga of Fuck Around and Find Out. I don't even know what episode number we're on, but yeah.
I've never in my life faced a time, and I've been farming since 1993 on my own, where the outlook is so bleak financially.
In a year where crops have been tested by Mother Nature, the toughest test may lie just ahead for farmers. Harvest begins across Arkansas, but for farmers like Cliff Carter, the challenge will happen after.
This is the first time in my life farming that I still have crop in my bins that I can't sell.
Despite a good crop this year, Carter says the prices they get for those crops won't cover expenses. He's not alone. Ag America reported in March the agricultural trade could reach a record trade deficit. Carter says the price for crops has dropped drastically.
Basically, what we're getting out, a bushel of corn or a bushel of rice, would be like you making $5 an hour and trying to pay your bills at home. In today's time, we can't do it.
Carter says farmers face challenges from several angles. Earlier this year, tariffs were imposed on U.S. exports. Carter said while businesses can fight tariffs by raising their prices, the reality is not the same for farmers.
We
We can't do that. Our price, the price is set for us is global market.
He said those tariffs are costing farmers their biggest customers.
Mexico and China are the two biggest rice buyers for the United. They buy more rice off of us than anyone. And when they stop buying rice, we have nowhere to go with the rice.
Carter said it's not just tariffs. The rise in global competitors like Brazil is also hurting farmers. Selling domestically is an option, but
I was offered $3.90 a bushel for rice last week to make dog food out of. That won't even cover my seed cost hardly.
Agriculture is a $20 billion industry in Arkansas. Carter fears that failure for farmers won't just stop with them.
It won't be a trickle-down effect. It will be like flushing a toilet if the ag industry collapses.
Carter says farmers need help from the government to help bridge the gap between the cost of producing crops and selling them.
Arkansas farmers, it is officially your time to come take this medicine. A year ago in 2024, not unlike Kerrville, Texas, you were offered bailouts, you were offered assistance from the government in order to subsidize your farms by the Biden administration. And a lot of you voted against it. You did not want to get behind anything that had to do with the Democrats. You let the culture war invade your logic, and you let it get in the way of saving your farms. Now your hero, your messiah, has been voted into office and immediately started gutting any earning potential that you had on your farms. Between the immigration policy that is snatching up workers off of these farms with no remorse, to the tariffs that we pay for that are killing any profits that you could have made this year. Now you are all sitting here saying that you need government assistance. Go figure. And some of you are saying if you don't get it, your farms will shut down. Let me ask you this question. Why is it different with this president? Why is it more acceptable to ask for this assistance from this president? Also, what makes you think he's going to give it to you? Your own governor, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, has been pleading for help from this man. She worked in his administration the first time, and he didn't give anything to her. Plus, his vice president has financial stake in an app that profits off of bankrupting private farms in America. I'm sorry, guys, there's no way around this conversation. Voting has consequences. And those consequences are going to be the loss of your farms.
All right, guys, there you have it. Actually, as you have seen, man, farmers in Arkansas are the latest to actually F around and find out. We have seen lots and lots of MAGA farmers in their find out phase. Actually, the thing is, these farmers and a lot like them are the ones who actually voted for the government to be precisely not wasting money. Now they're out here begging for a bailout. Can you believe the double standards? Because if some common citizen who is hustling or has a business, would they actually get a handout from the government, if they made bad mistakes in their businesses? Of course not. But why do these farmers actually get stimulus checks? Because that is not fair. Why do they have to get away with their mistakes? And this is exactly what they wanted. This is exactly what they voted for. In Arkansas, majority of its voters actually voted for the orange man, and they are now getting exactly what they voted for. But they don't like it, because a lot of farmers have been actually claiming and reporting bankruptcy from Nebraska to Texas to, California, Florida. Now Arkansas, the whole country is actually in shambles because, of tariffs. These farmers are no longer getting the markets that they had because most of the produce that they are making is not even locally consumed, because soybean farmers have been crying because they sell most of their soybean produce outside of the United States. And you'll find the same story actually here, from Nebraska to Texas to California to Florida. Anywhere else in the United States where farmers are in crisis, it's the same story. They all voted for the orange man. They wanted a great America. They wanted to bring back jobs to the United States. But they forgot that they heavily actually depend on the outside world because, now the policies that they went ahead and supported are the policies that are now backbiting them. Now, when you talk about tariffs, you'll find that, one of the farmers was actually explaining that some of the soybean, when it's exported out of the United States, you'll find that it's cheaper than Brazilian soybean. Why? Because, it's always been like that. And the United States has always had the biggest market out there, the biggest market share for soybean. But now they are crying because Brazil has actually overtaken them. And how is it happening? You'll find that the produce that used to be cheaper in the United States when exported are now becoming more expensive than Brazilian produce because of tariffs. And another thing that's actually biting them is that they don't have a labor force that is reliable right now, because they all voted for deportation policies, not actually considering that most of them depended on illegal immigrants and Latino workers to come and do the farm works. Now we've seen their crops actually rotting in the fields, having nobody to come and help in the harvest, because a lot of us might ask ourselves, why are they not using machinery? You'll find that some produce like berries or something like of the sort, you'll find that you cannot actually harvest with machines because they need to be picked by hand so that you can have the next season crop without actually destroying the crop. Yeah, it is what it is. They voted for this. It's what they wanted, but for some reason they don't like it, and they're out here in town halls actually begging for handouts, begging for bailouts. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about today's episode? I'm your presenter, Joel Mugisha. If you're new, kindly consider subscribing. Hit that like button. See you on the next episode.